Now on Brookland News Live, the latest on the war in Iran. What we're now learning as the U.S.'s top counterterrorism official announces his resignation. The latest, as it is day 18 of the war in Iran, as President Trump continues his call to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. As President Trump this morning meeting with the Ireland leader on this St. Patrick's Day. Brookland News Live starts right now.
It's time for all the news you need and more. Brookland News Live starts right now.
Hi everybody, welcome to Brookland News Live. It is St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday, March 17th. I'm Jackson Mitchell. It is good to be with you. Lots of headlines ongoing. We're going to get to all of it, especially on the latest on the war in Iran. First, is it just me? Are you guys experiencing this I feel like today's a Monday. I don't know, like yesterday I was okay. I was able to bring you guys the news. I didn't have any issues, but today it's like, ugh, I'm so slow. I just don't want to. I don't, not that I don't want to do the show, but I don't want to put the effort in to do this show. Not sure if that makes sense to you guys, but yeah, so that's, what we've got going on for you this, Tuesday. Okay, lots of stories we're going to get to. We're going to start first with the latest on the war in Iran, as it is now day 18. Again, good to be with you. So, first, we want to start with this news. We are learning, just with today, we'll pull up this headline for you. Joe Kent, who is the top U.S. counterterrorism official, resigning over the war in Iran. He cites opposition to the war. He claimed the war was started due to pressure from Israel and its American lobby, and that Iran posed no imminent threat to the U.S. Now, Kent was a decorated veteran, also criticized the spread of misinformation by Israel. Want to pull up that exact resignation letter. There you go. You see it on your screen now. There's that resignation letter. I'll pull it up full screen for you guys so you can read a piece of that, where he sends this message out directly to President Trump. He says he supports the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, and 2024. He says, as a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times, as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives. Again, that is the resignation letter in from Joe Kent on all of this. So there you go. There's Joe Kent, again, the top U.S. counterterrorism official, now resigning from his position. He was the Counterterrorism Center Director. So that's just a few of the angles here that we are following on this Tuesday. We're also getting into more news. The Washington Journal out with this report, and the IDF confirming it, at least to what we know here. And I'll pull up the report now on your screen. Israel saying it has killed the Iran security chief. Iran claims Ali Larhani, or Larjani, excuse me here if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, oversaw a, quote, massacre that was carried out against Iranian protesters. The IDF taking to social media, and again, it's going to show you here, taking to social media, releasing this image there on your screen. Take a look there. That image there now on your screen. Give us just 1 second, because we're working with some issues, and I forgot to fix this yesterday after I got off the air. But every time I switch an image, usually there's a button I have to click before it shows you guys, but you'll notice that it's showing you guys as soon as I click anything. This is the post that the IDF, the Israel Defense Force, took on X, saying the effective leader of the Iranian terror regime has been eliminated. He also says, after the elimination of Khamenei, who was the supreme leader killed by the United States and Israel in that very first attack. He functioned as the leader of the Iranian regime and led the combat against the state of Israel and countries in the region. So now that all continuing here as things that are continuing is where I was going with that. So we will follow details on that as soon as we get them. Excuse me, I was trying to fix the issue behind the scenes. I'm going to see if I fixed it here by pulling up this report once again. Israel saying it has killed that leader, and I have fixed the issue. Look at me. Okay. But an Iran security initiative. So we will follow the latest on that. Also, out of Iran, the Strait of Hormuz continuing to be closed as time keeps ticking and fuel prices keep rising. Now, the president, yesterday we brought you this, asking other countries to assist in the patrolling of the Strait of Hormuz in order for ships and boats to get through there to bring oil to these countries that desperately need it. And that includes China, who about 90% of their oil actually comes from the Strait of Hormuz, while, of course, just the conflict overall in the Middle East affecting fuel prices here. Luckily, we don't get all of our fuel from the Strait of Hormuz, so fortunately, we're not the ones dealing with the long lines and literally no fuel. It's just prices are rising for fuel here in the United States. So now Trump continuing those calls to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, though many countries now saying they're not interested in helping patrolling. That includes UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Take a look at this. Here we go.
Whether to commit British troops to military action is the most serious responsibility for any Prime Minister. Some for my decision not to join the offensive against Iran. Every stage I've stood by my principles which I held just as strongly in the debate about the Iraq War in 2003. Principles which I believe are shared by the people, that our decision should be based on a calm, level-headed assessment of British national interest, and to send our servicemen and women into harm. The very least they deserve is to know that they do so on justice and with a proper, thought-through.
Excuse me here. So President Trump obviously is going to be out criticizing that, and he did exactly that. Out with a new comments. This was yesterday morning in D.C. at the Trump Kennedy Center luncheon.
I don't do a hard sell on them because my attitude is we don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them. But it's interesting. I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because I want to find out how they react. Because I've been saying for years that if we ever did need them, they won't be there. Not all of them, but they won't be there. I was very surprised with the United Kingdom, because the United Kingdom, 2 weeks ago, I said, why don't you send some ships over? And he really didn't want to do it. I said, you don't want to do it. We've been with you. You're our oldest ally. And we spend a lot of money on, NATO and all of these things to protect you. I mean, we're protecting them. We're working with them on Ukraine. Ukraine's thousands of miles away, separated by a vast ocean. We don't have to do that, but we did it. Well, Biden did it. I mean, I have to be honest with you. Biden got taken to the cleaners. But we worked with them in Ukraine. We don't need to work with them in Ukraine. And then they tell us that we have a mine ship around, and they don't want to do it. I think it's terrible. No, I was very surprised. I told him, we requested 2 aircraft carriers, which they had, and he didn't really want to do it. And then right after the war essentially ended, meaning they were obliterated, he said, I would like to send the aircraft carriers. I said, I don't need them after the war has ended and won. I needed it before the war. So I was very upset with, not upset, I was not happy with the UK. I think they'll be involved, yeah, maybe. But they should be involved enthusiastically. We've been protecting these countries for years with NATO, because NATO is us. You can ask Putin. Putin fears us. He has no fear of Europe whatsoever. He fears the United States of America and the military.
So President Trump, they're out with those new comments on the war in Iran and reopening Strait of Hormuz, criticizing Prime Minister Keir Starmer there, who said he's going to stick with his firm beliefs that he says he's stuck with since 2003 during the war in Iraq. So we are going to continue following this. We're going to get to the latest on the war in Iran, continue our coverage there. But right now, we want to take you to a live look at the U.S. Senate, where they are currently debating the SAVED Act ahead of a vote moments ago. And I'm going to rewind the footage here. But Minority Leader, I should say John Thune, and the Minority Leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, both spoke. So if you'll stand by with me here, I will bring you just at least footage of that, because I am going to go ahead and let you guys know we are going to bring you coverage of the SAVED Act and kind of what that is. This is moments ago in the U.S. Senate. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and then Majority Leader John Thune also speaking a little bit after him ahead of the SAVE vote. We're going to break down what the SAVE vote, what the SAVE Act, excuse me, is, what President Trump is saying. And we also have some remarks from Democrats as well. Also from Capitol Hill that we're going to play for you. There's John Thune. We'll bring you all of that coming up in just a moment. We do want to get back, though, to the latest on the war in Iran. Excuse me here. I just want to kind of bring you that quickly as we were just getting footage of that in. So again, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, a big priority now for President Donald Trump. His countries continue to come out and criticize the administration for asking for their help. Trump saying on the other side, I protected you all this time. Why won't you help us when we need you? So, also, yesterday night after we had gotten out the air, a question about Vice President J.D. Vance and President Donald Trump having some disagreements on all of this. Now, if you remember correctly here, and I might even be able to find the news article about this, but there had been an earlier disagreement between President Donald Trump and J.D. Vance that was reported on. I believe it was from the Associated Press here. I'm looking for it to see if I got it. But there had been a conversation about that maybe President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, and I actually just found it here, had some type of disagreement on the war in Iran. I just found it, so I'm going to bring it to you here. This was from the Associated Press. Trump says Vance was philosophically different on the war in Iran. Here we go. Here's from the Associated Press with this report. Again, they're titled there. Now, Vice President J.D. Vance, yesterday they held where they signed executive orders in the Oval Office last night, and now J.D. Vance was responding to a reporter's question and kind of shut it down that there was any disagreements on this war on Iran, even though, again, this article says they were philosophically different, so maybe slight disagreement, but Vice President Vance, I'm going to play the response for you. But he says they were just trying to kind of stick a wedge in their relationship. Take a look.
You're trying to drive a wedge between members of the administration, between me and the president. What the president said consistently, going back to 2015, and I agreed with him, is that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. We have taken this military action under the president's leadership. I think all of us, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, should pray for success and pray for the safety of our troops. That's the approach that I've taken. Make it as successful as possible.
So there's no hesitation, given your past statements, with the current operation?
What do you mean there's no hesitation with my past statements?
Given your skepticism of foreign adventurism, you were a critic of the global war on terror previously.
Well, I think one big difference, Phil, is that we have a smart president, whereas in the past we've had dumb presidents. And I trust President Trump to get the job done, to do a good job for the American people, and to make sure that the mistakes of the past aren't repeated. Absolutely.
Thanks, sir.
Look, JD's been great.
Yeah, so that was even President Trump there on this reporting out, saying JD Vance has been great, and I watched the comments fully before I cut it off there, and Trump was just kind of going on with what JD Vance saying, and that they have worked together this entire time. So clearly, Vice President JD Vance, after this previous reporting, including right there from the Associated Press, suggesting there was some type of disagreement between the president and the vice president on the war in Iran, shutting that down. Okay, we do want to bring you the latest on gas prices right now, and I'll do it. I've been doing every day now for quite some time, reloading the page, pulling it up for you. Right now in Arkansas, we're looking at about an average of 328. I'm actually going to bring it to you here, so there we go. It's on your screen now. That average, national average, is that red 379, 328 right here in Arkansas, specifically in Craighead County. I know yesterday when I passed the gas station, it was about 311, and that was only one gas station because I did see another one. I believe it was a Maverick, formerly Come and Go. You guys know what I'm talking about there. That had been 309. So 323, the average in Craighead County. And I know in Jonesboro yesterday, the average was 322. So 325. Now the average today, things continuing to rise, considering if you scroll down a little bit here and I'll let you kind of into my screen here. A week ago, $3. A month ago, $2.46. And I specifically remember I was talking about this yesterday and actually showed you guys an image of how much it costed me to fill up my car. But I specifically remember yesterday, I mean, a few weeks before this had all begun, and I had went out of town for 2 weeks. And then when I went out of town, that's when everything had happened. But it was about 230, excuse me, a gallon. So, of course, prices continuing to rise as this conflict and war with Israel and the United States continues in Iran. We're going to continue to bring you daily updates on where things stand. We've done this now for 18 days. We're going to keep doing it. I am going to go ahead and let you know before we kind of get off here and take our first commercial break. I am not going to be here tomorrow nor Thursday, so I'm taking a little bit of a break. First of all, tomorrow I'm going to be out of town and I'm not going to have time to plan this show, and if I end up coming on the air, I'll be on the air a little bit late, and then I'll have to shorten things down, so I just decided not to do that. Then Thursday, it is my birthday, I'm turning 17, and then if I dinner with my family, I'm hanging out with friends before I do exactly that. So that is the plan right now. We'll be back Friday, and on Friday I'll recap what happened on Wednesday, Thursday, recap this entire week, and get you guys ready for the next week ahead. So that is what we've got going on for you. I will continue to let you know if I'm going to try my best to let you know if I'm not going to be here from now on. I'm going to try. I'll try. I know things can sometimes just pop up out of the blue and then I'm not here. So, we are going to sneak in our first commercial break, though. When we come back, we were just talking about it at the Senate, and I'll actually bring you guys a live look of this Senate right now, where we do expect them at some point in time, some type of debate on the SAVE Act. We're going to break down what the SAVE Act is and what that's all about, what President Trump is now saying about it, and still to come. Dolly Parton providing an update on her health at Dollywood recently, that she's not been touring. We'll talk a little bit about that. We got a lot still coming up for you. We've also got the Corey Richins verdict into was found guilty. Who is Corey Richins? What has she now been found guilty of? That's still to come. Stick with us here. You are watching Brookland News Live on this Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, I might say. And welcome back into Brookland News Live. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You can pinch me because I did not wear green. And call me, what are the words? Ignorant, because I did not actually know it was St. Patrick's Day. I apologize. To anybody who takes offense to that I didn't know that it was that day. You guys, I wake up only about 40 minutes before I have to get out the door, so that gives me just enough time to get ready, get in my car, and go to school. So not enough time to, think, is what I'm trying to say there. So, okay. Do you want to take you right now to a few of the other stories making headlines, and that includes a live look at the Senate right this moment as debate was going on moments ago for the SAVE Act, where things stand there. One moment. So, Senate debating the SAVE Act right now ahead of that vote. Reporting has suggested that maybe there is going to be kind of a takeover on the Senate floor. We're watching for that and we'll bring you that. Now, again, the Save America Act is a proposed federal voting law. Now, it would require proof of U.S. citizenship for voter registration, and it would limit mail in voting. Now, supporters, including the president, has claimed it prevents non citizen voting and increases election security, while critics argue it could disenfranchise eligible voters. I'm going to play Trump's comments, then we're going to talk a little bit about the argument that Democrats have. Here is President Trump on the SAVE Act. This is him yesterday in the Oval Office.
Bring in close to home. First of all, the Save America Act, what are you expecting this week when this vote takes place in the U.S. Senate? Will the Vice President's vote be necessary?
I think it's imperative that it gets done. You know, the Democrat policy, it's, but they stick together. In a way, I say as a Republican, I would say, thank goodness they have bad policy, because you'd never. We have something in there now. This voter ID with a picture, right? That's a 99. Even among Democrats, you know, Democrats poll at 8% on that. And then they have proof of citizenship. And then they have no ballots, no mail-in ballots. We have no mail-in. You go to California, they send out like 38 ballots. Some Democrats get 8 ballots. Republicans are calling in, where's my ballot? Where's my ballot? To get one.
So Trump there clearly opposed on clearly opposed on the Democrats' argument. But the thing about the SAFE Act is it would require the 60 votes. Okay, and Republicans don't have 60 Republicans. All Republicans at this point in time are for it, but the thing is, they have to get multiple Democrats to back them. And you heard President Trump there criticizing Democrats, saying they stick together. John Cornyn most recently defying against what's called the filibuster rule, which the filibuster is what requires the 60 votes. Something that we brought you I believe last week sometime. John Cornyn in a New York Post opinion saying he's not for this anymore, all too past the SAVE acts. So we'll have to watch how this goes. It's unclear exact date when the SAVE Act is going to come up for a vote, but we do know debate has been ongoing. I'm going to tell you, Democrats have opposed the Save America Act, arguing it suppresses voters by requiring documents like passports, birth certificates, disproportionately impacting low-income, rural, elderly, and minority voters. They also argue the bill expands federal control over elections, something President Trump in recent weeks has actually called for, and risks disenfranchising millions due to paper vote. So we'll have to watch how this goes, if it will end up passing the Senate and what things look like there as a tight majority that the Senate Republicans sure do have. So Democrats a little bit earlier reacting to all of this in a press conference on Capitol Hill. where they call the Save America Act Jim Crow 2.0. Here you go.
Bogged down the Senate over a debate on voter suppression, Democrats are ready. We're ready to be here all day, all night, as long as it takes to ensure the powers of voter suppression do not win the day. Let me be very clear. The SAVE Act is not a voter ID bill. It is in every sense a voter suppression bill. It could purge millions of American citizens from the voter rolls through a screening algorithm designed by Elon Musk's Doge Squad. It could disenfranchise over 20 million Americans. It would kill online voter registration. It would kill online vote by mail. It would kill vote by mail. It would kill motor voter registration. What does any of that have to do with election security? It doesn't. It's a naked attempt to rig our elections. The SAVE Act also rejects the most common forms of ID for anyone trying to register. Driver licenses, no longer enough. Not even military IDs would be enough. That is radical. It would force Americans to register only in person, something only 5% of Americans do. And as a result, you could show up at your voting place, the same place you voted 2 years ago, same ID, same everything, and they could say, sorry, you're no longer on the rolls, and then you couldn't vote.
So that's just a piece of what Democrats say is the problem with the Save America Act. Unclear, again, exactly when a vote could come up, but at this point in time, we're standing by because that could be at any moment. It's essentially they're looking for kind of a takeover to catch Democrats off guard when they're not at the Senate. So that's kind of what you heard a little bit of that from Chuck Schumer saying we're ready no matter what time it is. So the Senate said to debate that, continuing to debate that. We will monitor what things look like there. I want to remind you, bring you right now a look live at the city of Brookland as we will bring you your forecasts coming up closer to the end of the hour. So stick with us for that. Earlier today, President Donald Trump meeting at the White House with Irish Taoiseach. Take a look there. There you go. Michael Martin as Ireland in hopes to strengthen the economic ties and relationship between the United States. President Donald Trump taking some time to take questions during all of this. Give me just a second. We'll wind it back for you and let you listen in to those questions. This is not only on Iran, but I believe they also ask about one of his golf courses within all of this. This is earlier today, President Donald Trump and the Irish Taoiseach Michael Martin taking questions.
We, as the United States, have to remember that because we think it's pretty shocking.
President Macron has just said in the last hour that he will never join a task force in the Strait of Hormuz until hostilities finish. Yet yesterday you said...
Who said that? Who said?
President Macron of France. What's your reaction to that, sir?
Well, he'll be out of office very soon, so we'll have to see. I don't know.
Mr. President. On Doonbeg, you're building an extension to it at the moment, but there's been an objection put in, and it's being held back at the moment due to small snails. What are you disappointed about that?
Planning Commission.
I have not heard that. No.
Mr. President.
I mean, the course was built and it's been operated very successfully. Somebody's objecting. Human and environmental group is objecting to.
Mr. President.
How close the EU is to announce a coalition of willing to secure the Strait of Hormuz? Which countries are joining? Which countries have?
Well, we've had great support from the Middle East. Qatar has been great. UAE has been great. Saudi Arabia has been terrific. Bahrain has been very good. The Middle Eastern countries have been very strong in their support, and of course Israel has been our partner. Israel's been very, very strong, along with our operation. against Iran. If you look back ago,
Okay.
I talked Iran was a big threat to this country.
Maybe they've got the issue fixed. So it
world.
looked like maybe some connection issues.
And turned out to be I was right. In fact, I said you have to attack Karg Island. You have to attack them years ago when they were acting up. They've been acting up for 37, 47, I guess now 48 years. For 48 years, they've been bad players, vicious players, and you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they got a nuclear weapon, I would say they would have used it within 24 hours after having it. And they would have had it if we didn't bomb them out on that great raid with the B-2 bombers 8 months ago or so. You would have had a nuclear war in the Middle East and maybe beyond. I think it would have hit Europe. Maybe not Ireland, but it would have hit Europe. I think you would have been a nice piece of it. It all gets you. It's big enough that you would have been affected. They would have hit Europe eventually.
Mr. President, your Director of National Counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. I didn't know him well, but I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it. And many people, many of the greatest military scholars are saying for years that presidents should have taken out Iran because they wanted a nuclear weapon. They were, if we didn't do the attack, or if, I'll go a step further, if I didn't terminate the Iran nuclear deal given to us, one of the worst deals ever made by Barack Hussein Obama. Remember when they sent Boeing 757s over there, loaded with cash, hundreds of millions of dollars? You would have been very happy. This was a wonderful, they sent hundreds of millions. People forget that. Does anybody remember? Right? You remember. Hundreds of millions of dollars in a Boeing 757. I think they had two of them loaded. They took the seats out and they put cash. And it was so much that there wasn't a bank in Virginia, Maryland, or D.C. that had any money left. They stripped them of all their money, put it into place, sent it to Iran, almost as ransom. That's not going to happen with Trump. And nobody ever did anything about it. Nobody ever said anything about it. Can you imagine if I did that? So they've been a threat for a long time. But they've really been a threat. If I didn't terminate Obama's horrible deal that he made, the Iran nuclear deal, you would have had a nuclear war 4 years ago. You would have had nuclear holocaust, and you would have had it again if we didn't bomb the site. So when somebody is working with us that says they didn't think Iran was a threat, we don't want those people, because, and there are some people, I guess I would say that, but they're not smart people or they're not savvy people. Iran was a tremendous threat. And virtually every NATO nation, and this is the thing, if they told me it wasn't a threat, and therefore they don't want to help, but when they say it was a threat, and it was a major threat, every one of them, I think every one of them, I don't know of one that said they're not a threat, but when they say it was a threat, but we're not going to help, I think they're very foolish. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting because I could say this, that what's happening in Ukraine, we're probably in there for $400 billion. We don't spend any money anymore. They buy it from us and they pay full price. But Biden gave them between $350 and $400 billion of equipment and cash. Someday they'll have to find out about the cash. And you could say that wasn't a threat, you know, we're helping them. So we helped them, and they didn't help us, and I think that's a very bad thing for NATO.
Mr. President.
Are there any repercussions for NATO, and are you still going to China?
Well, yeah, on China, it's a little different story. We're resetting the meeting, and it looks like it'll take place in about 5 weeks. We're working with China. They were fine with it. We're going to say, I look forward to seeing President Xi. He looks forward to seeing me, I think. But I do look forward to seeing him. We have a good relationship with China. China actually has become economically for us very good. very good, as you know. It's much different than it was in the past. And we have a very good working relationship with China. So we're making it in about 5 or 6 weeks.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President.
NATO for not supporting you on this. Any repercussions?
Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
Mr. President,
In Iran, because the Iranian regime has told Sky News, if you put boots on the ground in Iran, it will be another Vietnam. Are you afraid of that?
No, I'm not afraid of. I'm really not afraid of anything.
Mr. President, are you rethinking the United States' relationship with NATO possibly getting out?
Well, I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years, many trillions of dollars. It's one of the reasons we have deficits and we help other countries. And when they don't help us, I mean, it's certainly something that we should think about. I don't need Congress for that decision. As you probably know, I can make that decision myself. I'd work with some very smart people. And I'd always deal with Congress anyway, but I don't need Congress for that decision. But, you know, when you say rethink, I have nothing currently in mind, but I will say that I'm not exactly thrilled when we help them with Ukraine. Look, Ukraine would have been over in one day if we didn't help. Frankly, Ukraine would have been over in the first day. They had the best equipment in the world. It was our equipment, given by Sleepy Joe Biden. No charge.
Alrighty, President Donald Trump taking questions this morning from the White House on a number of topics, mostly focused on Iran. That comes after he was meeting, and you'll see you saw here at the beginning of the segment, he was meeting with Taoiseach Michael Martin of Ireland on this St. Patrick's Day. You see President Trump with a green tie, and I believe the leader Michael Martin was also wearing a green tie on this St. Patrick's Day. Already told you I didn't wear my green, so I pinch me if you got to. Whatever makes you happy. Okay, that was from earlier today. Alrighty, we got a lot still to come right here on Brooklyn News Live, including the new information we are just getting in about Jasmine Crockett, the Democrat from Texas, the representative in the House, her security guard. The Dallas police alleging some new information and telling the public some new information. And President Donald Trump yesterday revealing information that was not public about a congressman when we come back. And welcome back into Brooklyn News Live on this St. Patty's Day. Thank you for joining us. Of course, it's still good to be with you. Okay, Representative Jasmine Crockett's former security guard, Diamond Mazir Robinson, was killed in a police interaction during a SWAT standoff in Dallas. Robinson, using the alias Mike King, was wanted for impersonating a law enforcement officer and had a criminal history. Now, at first, Crockett expressed shock and sadness over the incident, defending her campaign's vetting process and highlighting the need for improved security members from members of Congress. Now, the Dallas police out with this information. Take a look. Here we go. Okay, maybe not. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Not sure what had happened there. Let's try this again.
February 17, 2026, the Urban Police Department issued a bulletin regarding a black GMC Yukon displaying a stolen U.S. government license. Through investigative work conducted by Dallas Police Department's intelligence unit, and the suspect was identified as 30 Diamond Maserati. During the investigation, the detective had been using fictitious information and wearing police uniforms to falsely represent himself as a. Detectives also learned Robinson alias Mike King. Businesses using false identifying information to hire legitimate police officers for off-duty. Robinson was wanted on felony warrants as well as a parole violation warrant. Detectives also learned he was operating multiple during this investigation. The platform and a white Ford F-250 were reported stolen, and detectives determined he was operating a silver Dodge Charger, also stolen government license plate.
I got it. Alrighty, so this is the moment you're going to notice he has a gun in his hand. The police of Dallas, the Dallas Police Department, releasing this video on Monday showing all of the moments. There you go, the pointed down gun in hand. Of course, scaring police. You hear the gunshots and there you go. The suspect is down. So that was the intense moments that the intense interaction that led up to the killing of the security guard who, according to police, not only was his company a fraud, his name was a fraud too. His name was not Mike King, rather Diamond Mazier Robinson. That SWAT standoff there in that parking garage from Representative Jasmine Crockett's former security guard. Okay, so an interesting story. We will keep our eyes peeled to it if anything new comes out of that. President Trump, or Trump, as that graphic says, Trump, excuse me, revealing not public information on Republican Representative Neil Dunn. The information was in kind of this awkward moment between the president and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson during an exchange on Monday. There you go. There's Rep. Neil Dunn. On your screen, during the exchange, President Donald Trump and Mike Johnson were talking about a representative who had an illness. The context of the conversation went all the way back to the majority being a slim majority, but held by Republicans, that led to them talking about this congressman's sickness. Take a look at the video.
And the Speaker of the House, he's got the easiest job of anybody in government. He's got a majority of 2. I don't like to say 1 because it varies, but between 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Congressman Neil Dunn of Florida had some real health challenges, serious, and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real because he's still coming to work, and if others got this stuff, be apt to go home and retire. And
what was the diagnosis?
I mean, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay. It was grim. That's what I was going to say. I don't think
with a heart problem, by the way. This was a heart.
So, the long story short, the president called him.
So there's the moment between Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and President Trump. Not public information. The president yet revealing it that this congressman would have been dead by June. But the remarks there that you saw went on to say that he got in contact with the president's doctor, went to Walter Reed, underwent a surgery. Now he's okay. So good to hear that last part, but not sure how Representative Neil Dunn feels about all of this. We're going to sneak in another quick break. On the other side of that, Tucker Carlson now saying the CIA is investigating him, what a new video is now suggesting. And Dolly Parton sharing a health update. We've got that and more coming up in the final 10 minutes right here on Brooklyn News Live.
I found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report to the Department of Justice on the basis of crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, to people in Iran before the war. They read. So the crime under consideration, apparently, the Foreign Agent Act or something like that, agent of a foreign power. And I don't expect this to go anywhere. I'm not too worried about an actual criminal case against me for a bunch. One, I'm not an agent of a foreign power. People commenting on U.S. politics and globally one loyalty, and that's the United States, and have never acted against its interests, are the only interests I care about because I'm from here and I have a lot of kids.
Tucker Carlson now saying he is under investigation and a criminal referral could be in his future after remarks he made that were against the war in Iran. Now he's a stark ally of the president, so this is pretty interesting and something to keep your eyes on. I actually heard about this when I was, and I'll tell you, a little behind the scenes here. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to a lot of different people from both sides of the aisle, but specifically I was listening to Megyn Kelly, who's also, and what she calls herself MAGA adjacent. But she was talking about this, and she said, she's behind Tucker Carlson and all of this, but that's besides the point. I was just letting you know where I heard it from. But now in this new video, he says it's because he was sending texts to people within Iran before the war had begun. Now, we don't have images of this, but I hope you trust me here. Reporting has earlier suggested that President Donald Trump and the DOJ under him have targeted criticizers, those who criticize the president, and often do things against the president that includes the persecution or prosecution, excuse me, of the Letitia James, James Comey, and those. That's what that reporting was all about, and suggested that maybe the president and his DOJ was targeting those that maybe disagreed with him or did things that did not align with his opinions. Tucker Carlson's not like that, though. That's where I'm going there. Tucker Carlson mostly agrees with the president. Now this comes as also people like Joe Rogan, Megyn Kelly, and lots of the podcasters that are said to have gotten the president to win the 2024 election now saying they're not for this war. So it's going to be something to follow. We're going to have to see what is next for Tucker Carlson. If something actually comes about in all of this, I'll monitor it closely and bring you guys updates.
A whole lot of things. I have been not touring, as you know. I've had a few little health issues, and we're taking good care of.
Making a rare public appearance at 80 time, stepping out in months at her Tennessee theme park to offer some life updates.
I don't know. We better do it quick. I just kind of got wore down and wore out. Grieve Carl and a lot of other little. I just got myself kind of, build myself back up spiritually, emotionally, physically. You just have to be grateful for the years with someone, and you just try to remember the very best and make that take their energy that's in and kind of recycle that and become a part of you.
Dolly Parton there sharing a health update after her recent absence at Dollywood, which I believe isn't Dollywood in Tennessee, or is it in Branson? I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up. Is it in Branson? I'm kind of wondering. Dollywood Parks, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Okay, I was close. I said Tennessee at first. So, I mean, not that far from Arkansas. I even know some people who have been to Dollywood a few times now. But you see her there making her first public appearance after a few months, saying she had a few health scares. She was worn out, needed to take a little bit of break. Then you saw that also interview from Entertainment Tonight saying, cherish the ones that you love, which is so very true. So Dolly Parton sharing that health update, saying she's okay. She's just kind of winding down. Now she is 80 years old, so take that into note as well. So we're gonna take another break. When we come back, the trial of Corey Richins, who she is, and what she was found guilty on yesterday inside a Utah courthouse. When we come back. Welcome back, right here into Brookland News Live. As always, still going to be with you. Okay, Corey Richens, a Utah mother and children's book author, was convicted of killing her husband, Eric Richens, by poisoning him with fentanyl in 2022. The conviction came yesterday from a Utah jury. The prosecutors laid out the plan, saying she had planned, laid out the case by saying she had planned. There's what I was trying to say. The murder for financial gain, pointing to debt, life insurance money, and evidence like text, searches, and witness testimony showing she wanted out of the marriage. The defense argued there was reasonable doubt but did not offer a strong alternative explanation. A jury found her guilty of aggravated murder and other charges after only a few hours of deliberation, and she now faces a possible sentence of 25 years in life. Here's the moment it all happened.
Count 1, aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Corey Richens, is guilty of aggravated murder. The jury unanimously agree that the prosecution has proved the following circumstance or circumstances regarding beyond a reasonable doubt. It was committed for pecuniary gain. The homicide was committed by means of any substance administered in a lethal amount or quantity. Count 2, attempted aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Corey Richens, is guilty of attempted murder. We, the jury, unanimously, the prosecution has proved the following circumstances or circumstances.
Alrighty, you see the common denominator there, guilty on everything. Okay, we'll continue to follow that right now. We'll look at your forecast tonight. A low of 40, so it's gonna be a little chilly. It's been chilly all day. I'll tell you, I'm in a sweatshirt and a jacket to get used to it. And then the next thing you know, it's back to being 70, and that's the exact case we're gonna see this week. By Wednesday, high of 64, low of 48. Wednesday, high of 76, low of 52. So Wednesday, get the short sleeves back out. I don't know how you guys do it. Constantly. I don't know how we all have done this for so long now, just short sleeves. Then we're going back to long sleeves, jackets. Then back to short sleeves, and it just repeats and repeats and repeats. Now remember, you can join us right here every day, weekdays at 3 p.m. Central Time. At 2 p.m. Central Time is what that should say. That is going to do it for us on this Tuesday. Again, it won't be here Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see you back again on Friday. Bye, guys.